Hi guys, and welcome to the Ace Tanker in the Wagen 3. I'm not even going to try and say that again. My German is so bad, and if you're a German viewer, please don't unsubscribe. I'm just going to be calling it the DW2 for the rest of this game. Now, why am I in a DW2? Well, recently I got the Ace Tanker in the Churchill gun carrier, and I was looking for the next terrible tank to try and get an Ace Tanker in, and I decided on the D.W.2. It is a terrible tank, and I don't know why I do this to myself, and I don't know why I do this to my stats, but I don't play this game for stats. This is a terrible Tier 4 German heavy. It was introduced in a fairly recent patch, but I never played it. You see, when I first started playing World of Tanks, I played the Germans as my first nation, and this tank didn't exist. It was added later. So I never had the opportunity to play this tank, and I decided, yes, on a recent World of Tanks forum vote, this got voted the second worst tank in the game. So I decided, you know what, I've never played it, and I've just finished with the Churchill gun carrier, so let's put myself through some more pain and misery. So what we have here is a Tier 4 heavy tank with incredibly bad armor, reasonably poor mobility. It is slow, it is not very maneuverable, but the worst thing about this tank is the fact it gets an absolutely terrible gun. You can see that it comes with a 50mm that only has 67mm of penetration and 70 alpha damage. Now, it is quite rapid firing, but the penetration and the alpha damage are terrible, especially when you consider that this tank doesn't get special matchmaking. It's a regular tank. It will see tier 5s, it will see tier 6s, and yes, that regular AP on the gun is just terrible. Even top tier, there are a lot of tanks you cannot hurt with firing AP. So I have absolutely no regrets spamming premium ammo in this tank. In fact, I'm bottom tier. If you haven't noticed the map, it is Serene Coast. I am bottom tier in a tier 6 game. A lot of tier 6s on the enemy team, a lot of tier 5s. The premium ammo is something that's quite good on this tank. It's 130mm of penetration, but again, low alpha damage. But I have absolutely no apologies to offer for spamming gold in this game. Not when I'm shooting tier 6 tanks. So, because I've got no armor, because I've got very few poor hit points for a tier 4 and a tier 6 game, I really don't know what to do. So I spent a lot of this game, excuse the lag, I've spent a lot of this game kind of driving around the back of the map just looking for targets of opportunity. Now, it is a 60-something percenter, but our best players are in the lowest tier tanks. So the game is actually a lot closer than XVM suggests. Now, you'll notice I'm platooned with Neolon Travels and Beyond D. And Beyond D has been asking for help in his PZ3. And there we go. Beyond D sets the KV-1 on fire, but I do manage to get some shots in. So Matilda in the distance, and I'm basically just firing premium ammo, wasting credits. And I'm not going to spoil it for you, but, well, I am going to spoil it for you. I end up making a loss in this game. But it was worth it to get the Ace Tanker and to finally sell this tank. Now, I've been lucky enough to only play this tank in platoons because I recently bought it after the Churchill gun carrier experience. But I've only been playing it in platoons, and as a result, I don't think I've ever been top tier. I've been primarily getting it into tier 5 and tier 6 games. And the interesting thing to note, actually, is Beyond D is in a PZ3. It's the same gun in the PZ3, and Beyond is also firing premium in his tank. The major difference between the DW2 and the PZ3 is the PZ3 is fast and it's maneuverable. Whereas this thing, you can see, is slow and not very maneuverable. So again, I'm just driving around looking for targets of opportunity. Now, Beyond has run into trouble. He ran into a Chaffee and gets taken out. So again, I'm just looking for targets of opportunity. A lot of tanks on the enemy team can 2-hit kill me. Maybe even 1-hit kill me if they roll high. But T-67 decides to poke, and we get the kill. So at this moment, this is a game that was played on stream. I'm actually doing a little dance in my chair right now because I've managed to get a kill in a D.W.2. The other nice thing is because I'm bottom tier, most of the tanks I'm shooting at are higher tier, which means higher XP. More credits, more XP. So there's a VK3001P in the distance, he's showing me his butt. And we can get some more damage in before he gets into cover. So this really isn't a tank you can be aggressive in, and I would say you probably shouldn't be aggressive in a D.W.2, even if you're top tier. It really is a bad tank. And I am kind of split as to what I would rather play, this tank or a Churchill gun carrier. But on the bright side, I only played about 2 or 3 games on this tank before this one, whereas the Churchill gun carrier took quite a few more games than that to get the Ace Tanker. So unfortunately someone takes out the VK3001P, but as this is the D.W.2 Ace Tanker game, I'm just wondering, what is the next terrible tank you guys want me to try and get an Ace Tanker in? The first challenge I took was the AMX-40, so don't say the AMX-40, that one's done and dusted. Churchill gun carrier is gone, D.W.2 is gone. What's the next terrible tank you want to see an Ace Tanker in? And if it's a tank I don't already have an Ace Tanker in, and it's a tank I can buy, I will. Let me know in comments. So again, I'm still faffing around. I'm just looking for targets of opportunity. Only 484 damage. Tog, no shots. VK is poking. He misses. Have I got the rate of fire? No, I need one more hit. And we take him out for kill number 2. So that 400 damage has suddenly creeped up to 722 damage. Only one tank left on the enemy team, and it's a almost full health Tog 2. Now, technically, I could fire regular AP and possibly pen the Tog 2. But again, I'm not going to take any chances. Unfortunately, the Tog 2 takes out her Hellcat. So it is 2 versus 1. And that enemy Tog is almost on full health. Our Tog is on about a third health. And I've only got 420 hit points. So I'm just waiting here. And the reason I'm waiting here is something, probably the one and only interesting thing there is to talk about in this video, which is the fact that often you will see tanks charging in one by one. In fact, I've got another Ace Tanker coming to the channel soon, where we lost the game, even though we were winning. I think it was 5 versus 1. And we ended up losing because the one remaining enemy tank was camping, and our tanks roll on fairly low health and decided to roll straight at him one by one. I'm not going to make that mistake. I'm not moving in. I'm not going to take on a tier 6 heavy with 12 or 1300 hit points left. I'm going to wait for our Tog 2. Now, it's quite a dangerous situation because our Tog 2 and I combined don't have the same hit points left as the enemy Tog 2. The enemy Tog 2 is easily going to out DPM us. So what I'm doing is I'm timing my run. I'm keeping an eye on our Tog 2. We know where the enemy Tog 2 was last spotted. I'm going to move in from one direction. I'm going to wait for our Tog 2 to move in from the other direction. And we're going to engage the enemy tank at the same time. At least that's my game plan. And it's just a matter of allowing it to happen and hoping the enemy Tog 2 is still sitting exactly where he was last spotted. So I'm trying to time it. Our Tog doesn't have a lot of hit points. I need to time it perfectly so that the enemy Tog doesn't have time to kill our Tog without both of us engaging at the same time. So our Tog 2 is about to roll around the corner. I want to spot the enemy Tog 2. I want to get the first shot in. There we go. And unfortunately I miss, but that means the enemy Tog 2 is looking my way just in time for our Tog 2 to roll around the corner. So I'm staying safe. Tog 2 fired and misses. I poke, put one shot in. Our Tog starts dealing damage, and I'm in third person, keeping an eye on the Tog. The Tog is looking at me. He's not looking at the enemy, or our Tog. Now he is. So now I've got to go. No, he's looking at me again. This guy does not want to be killed by a D.W.2. There's probably nothing more embarrassing in this game than being in a tier 6 heavy and getting killed by a D.W.2. So I'm waiting. He's not facing me, so I can poke out. The two Togs are exchanging fire. I'm trying to track the Tog, but I don't have the alpha. He's looking at me. He's fired. I'm poking. I'm shooting. Our Tog is down to 300 health, but we have reduced this Tog down to 270 health. So again, I don't want to engage him frontally. He's actually not a bad player. He's done the right thing and he's figured out that he's on a losing mission. He's reversed back down so that we have to attack him frontally. So now I'm going to have to try and flank. Unfortunately, our Tog engages him. And again, this is not a fast tank. And our Tog is able to take him out, but I end up with 1134 damage and 2 kills. So I'm going to try and attempt to say this again. D.W.2 Ace. Let me know if that's right or if I'm massacring the German language, and if I am sincerely apologetic. It was the Ace Tanker in the D.W.2, and I also picked up a fire for effect, but so happy. Sold the tank immediately after this game. Didn't come first on XP, but did earn 816 XP. It's nice when you're bottom tier because you get to shoot higher tier tanks. Not so nice when you're doing it in a D.W.2, however. 1134 damage, 2 kills, quite happy with that. 23 shots fired, 21 hits, 18 penetrations, even with premium ammo. And I did spam gold, and I apologize in advance, but this tank is so good, or so bad it needs it. I damaged 5, destroyed 2, did absolutely nothing else in that game, and made a loss of 21,000 credits with a premium account. And I am so sorry if you don't like gold spammers. I don't do it, don't fire a lot of gold in my replays, but the D.W.2 has to, especially when it's bottom tier and is shooting tier 6 tanks. 1224 XP on a ×2 with 612 bonus thrown in left me on 3060 XP. So there we go. D.W.2 is done, dusted and sold. What is the next terrible tank I need to get an Ace Tanker in? Although I have already been challenged to get an Ace Tanker in an Electo. I don't think the Electo is a terrible tank, so I'm not going to count that. If you've got any ideas, let me know in chat. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.